These are my daylilies, and as you can see, they're starting to bloom. Got buds on them. We used to have them in a circle planting over there around the evergreen, but I felt like the evergreen the growth was being stunted, so we moved the daylilies over here. And this is a wild rose bush. It gets really big, but it doesn't bloom that well. My tomato plants, I believe we planted just cherry tomatoes this year. As you can see, we've got tomatoes already. There's some more back here. I guess that's all. We got flowers in here, and I have no idea if these are flowers coming up or weeds, but I do see a baby tree, 2 of them in fact. That would be a maple tree right there, and I think that's a maple tree, and we transplant those and they grow into big trees. Here's my squash. As you can see, we got some squash growing. And that's zucchini over there. It's still too immature to flower. And more daylilies that we transplanted. And another tree. I believe that's a tree. Those roses over there are called knockout roses. I have white, pink, red, and then another pink one. Oh, I'll be doggone. This ugly plant's actually got some flowers on it. Tim is letting this thing grow because he thinks it's an herb. But I'm about 100% sure that it's not an herb. Looks like he put some, what do you call it here? Impatiens. This is just a perennial grass, hosta, whatever. I don't know what it is. Probably just a weed. It looks like a weed. And he's got some flowers growing in the basket in there. We used to have this surrounded by, what do you call it, landscaping, those things right there. And we used them for a fire pit, and we haven't put them back yet. And as you can see, I've got a little friend in the water. Hopefully they don't see it, because they'll go bonkers over it. Come on. Tim poured some rocks under my stone bench here. And this is supposed to provide shade, but it does a so-so job. And these are pretty, but they might just be wildflowers. And I don't know if I think he seeded this area. I'll have to see. All right, Big Red, come on. We have a double gate, so Tim could take the mower through without having to worry about dogs following him out. Once he gets in here, he closes it, and then he can open the outer gate. Plus, this also provides extending the fence. It used to just go to this tree right here, and we extended it over to there. It provides privacy from this window over there from our neighbor's house. Okay. This tree we planted from a little thing about yay big. Same here with this tree. And that's a tomato plant there I'm walking towards. See the trees? We find trees. That's a little bitty one. Tomato plant. I don't see any blooms on it. It's got a tomato on it. I found this tree. We transplanted it. I think this is the one I found in with the ivy. And that one was in a flower pot growing. I don't think we have anything planted here. And here's another, so we got 3 tomato plants. And this one's got blooms on it, and it has tomatoes growing on it. So we'll have a crop maybe at the end of June. These used to be about maybe a third the size, these evergreens. We planted those in the backyard to screen for privacy. And it looks like Barnaby's tripped over some rocks that need to be adjusted. But I took a picture of my bloom yesterday, or the other day, a couple days ago, when I just had 1 flower blooming, and now I've got 6 of them here. And I've got at least 5 more, 6 more, oh, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, about maybe 10 more buds. So these are all coming into bloom. They grow in the water. They have to be, I think they're called, can't think of the word, but they're not like a lily that you plant in the center underwater, completely submerged in the pond. You put these on the border of the water. So they're partially in and out of the water. They don't need to be completely submerged, which, you know, actually in the other pond, they're completely underwater, but they're still on the border. They're looking for toads. They're toad hunting. They look around the borders. The toads like to get up in the juniper and hide underneath, and in the rocks and little crevices and stuff. And they get all excited if they find one. And then they snap at it, and then it causes their mouth to foam. I put a pad down for them to take a nap. As you can see, my strawberries. I picked a bunch of them yesterday. That's why this is real bare here. I went and pulled a lot of stuff up. And I pulled a lot of the leaves out so the sun could get to them and dry the ground, because the leaves and the rain was falling so bad that it was just constantly wet on the ground, and they were rotting instead of ripening. And when you've got this many strawberries, you have to pick like every day. And it's just too many strawberries. We don't need this big of a patch. And, you know, I made jelly yesterday, and I was really upset because I didn't think it was going to set and gel up and get firm. That's a pretty lily. See? Lily pads, they have to be completely submerged. And boy, we need some bug stuff. My other lilies. This is where the other plant came from. I mean, if my whole backyard was a pond, it'd only take a couple years, and I could start one plant on the edge, and it would just grow clear across the pond and completely fill it in, because these things grow like crazy. Yeah, my poor plant. The bugs are chewing the heck out of it. Tim needs to treat this plant. It's really chewed up. We are down to 2 koi. We used to have 2 black mollies and 4 fancy-tailed goldfish, and they did real well, and they got as big as a fist or bigger, maybe 2 fists together. Nice big plump fish. And one day we came out here and all 6 of them were gone. So I don't know, if a raccoon or a bird, like a crane. Cranes land in your backyard, and they'll pick out your koi out of your pond for you. And all that's left is the really big ones, and I think they've been traumatized. They constantly hide. They're inside that log right there. And I'm about to sit here. Got my book. It's a good 80 degrees. It's about noon. I just made some pancakes. I had heated up some sausage left over, and I had an egg. That was my breakfast, and a cup of coffee. And I used my strawberry jelly that I made yesterday on my pancakes. It was really good. It is firmer than it was yesterday. Yesterday I could pour it out of the jar still, but it was still quite warm. And Bitsy's over there taking a little nap. Yeah, Bitsy taking a nap. Yeah, she says. That's what you do when it's 80 degrees, 85 degrees, and muggy. You just sleep. You just find a place and you sit and you sweat. And you try not to move, because if you move, you sweat. Let's tour my backyard. Take a picture of me. And my red face, because I'm hot. And I'm sweaty. And, yeah, I look pretty red. The sun's in my eyes a little bit. Even though I'm in the shade, it's kind of glaring. Ooh. I only have my camisole on, but I'm in the backyard, so I don't care. If it's not too decent, I won't drop the camera any lower. But it's really thin material, and it's so hot. It's supposed to, I think it's supposed to rain tonight. Thunderstorms. And then over the weekend, I think we're supposed to have rain. It's supposed to be a rainy weekend. And then I can't remember if it was Friday, Saturday rain, and then Sunday, Monday sun, or if it was just Memorial Day was sunny. But hopefully, I looked at last night. Granted, it was in the evening. It was 6, 7 in the evening, and it said the humidity was only 40%, and I couldn't believe that. To me, it's like got to be up there, 90%, because it's just so muggy. But I don't know if it drops in the evening or what. Oh, excuse me. Being really lazy. I got up at like 7:30, but I took a pillow and lay down on the couch and was in and out of sleep for a long time, so I just didn't want to get up. I didn't have no plans. And I didn't even stay up late last night. I went to bed and I read for maybe a half hour and I got tired. I was asleep by 11 o'clock, and that's early for me. So 11 to 7 is 8 hours. I didn't need to go back and lay down on the couch in the morning and cat nap, but I did. And it took me until almost noon to get around to making a breakfast. I guess it was hunger that got me up finally. So I'm outside with the dogs. They like to be outside, and it's best if they want to be outside that I come out with them. Keep an eye on them. Make sure if they get to barking that I settle them down. I think it's ignorant for people to have dogs that they keep out in the backyard and all they do is just bark. You know, they're a nuisance in the neighborhood. Especially, we used to have some people that lived across the street, and they had some really big dogs, and they would bark and howl. And since it was just across the street, it was quite loud at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and they were keeping us awake at night. And thankfully, they didn't live there very long. I think they deadbeats, and they didn't pay their rent. They got kicked out. But I don't believe in letting your dogs be a nuisance. Right, guys? You just annoy me. Got a frog. I should have a bottle of water out here with me. I'm just too cheap. We filter it. Okay, well, let's see. Oh, 14 minutes. This is way too long. Sorry about that.